Back again, day number 27 of the bulk. Today is going to be a leg day. So that's going to, if you've seen one before, you pretty much already get the gist of what's going to happen. Throw down on some hamstrings, a lot of seated curls. Maybe I'll throw in some other varieties, right? Sort of help add to your training vocabulary in a sense, right? Like, help you sort of realize you can do some different versions of things. Then move on to squats. Get some pendulum squats going, leg extensions, maybe some Smith machine sissy squats, and that should be it. At the end, quads should be eviscerated. But when this is uploaded, it'll be later on Valentine's Day, right? So if you missed a lift to go do a little fancy dinner with your girlfriend, or even worse, if you missed your lift so that you could go out and try to meet somebody last minute, you are fucked in a progress perspective, right? It's just not it's whatever, but especially if you're already the single bachelor type, or you're in school, you're just adding some complications to the mix. If you're really legit and you want to kind of be focused on something 100%, you can't let anything bother you. You have to chillax on female action, right? So in terms of what's my favorite body part to hit, what's your, do you love chest day? Bro, I hate arm day. I hate arms. I've never really been a person to sort of put one lift over another like that. They're all good for different reasons in different ways, right? Arms, love arm day. It's relatively easy in the sense that you're not going to be absolutely destroyed, gassed at the end of it like a leg day. Because on legs, you're getting real out of breath and shit. And then you get a cool ass arm pump. Sweet. Shoulders and chests. Well, shoulders, pretty much the same deal. Chest, love going heavy on chest. It's fun. Then you get a crazy chest pump. Back, still go pretty hard, but love a back pump. What do you want me to say? I like it all. And then legs, I love a leg pump. And then legs is also fun because it's hard. I'd say out of all of the muscle groups that you're going to train, legs will be the one where a good workout would probably take the most out of you, which would make sense why so many people just end up skipping legs. It's too hard. Plus, you're wearing pants all the time anyway, so that's the logic. Who's going to even see my legs? But if you're a real lifter at your core, you can't neglect any body parts. You gotta find growth. You gotta adapt your growth vector in every possible location. So legs, you gotta get bigger. Back, you gotta get bigger. Chest, shoulders, arms, everything bigger, goddammit. So I'm gonna finish this pre. We're gonna get in there. It's probably gonna be fucking empty. It's 1 a.m. When I finished class today, I just passed out. So I took a real big nap during what should have been my training window. And then I didn't wake up until pretty late. So, should be empty, no distractions. Sounds like a pretty good mix for a abhorrent leg pump. Alright, let's turn the exposure down.
That's key to, if you're in good lighting, you may as well just take that exposure down a few clicks. You're not cheating. It's just photography. All right. So, to all the squat haters, what's about to happen? Have my quads disintegrated into nothingness? I doubt it. Yeah. All right. That is not bad. Oh shit. Whew. That's pretty filthy. If you care about the bodybuilding, when you do sort of the side chest like this, you want to try and keep your hamstring relaxed so that it'll sort of smush up against your other leg, and you want to tighten your glutes because it'll kind of pull them in a little. But, you know, who gives a shit? This is all about just the size. Ooh, damn. So hypothetically, if you were to follow that exact leg day, you should get a pretty goddamn gnarly pump as well. Oh, it should be illegal to have that kind of veins on a bulk. Oh, that means I gotta eat some more food. There we go. Now the shorts are at their actual height. So, you know, if you've been watching these, you noticed I'm not really lifting in like cutoffs or stringers or anything. Obviously, when I finish the lift and I come like check out the pump, then I sort of do. But I sort of feel like it's a distraction in a sense, right? You can kind of get caught up in looking at yourself, and I don't know. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. You know, I think the whole point of the pump cover is you lift, you get a pump, and then when you're done, you get to enjoy the rewards afterwards, right? So I'd rather just stay covered up for the workout, just focus on the feeling, on the sets, instead of, you know, every 2 sets walking over to the mirror and like trying to check out some poses or my progress or whatever. Or let's say your pump isn't necessarily as big as yesterday. Let's say today you're a little dehydrated, you didn't drink enough electrolytes, because your pump is primarily water. That's why the whole premise of dry scooping is sort of foolish, at least in the sense that when you dry scoop your pre, you're probably not drinking a shit ton of water afterwards to dilute it. Because once you take in that pre-workout, you know, and it at least the pump ingredients like the arginine and the citrulline, you know, what those are doing is dilating your blood vessels, right? It's opening up your blood vessels, so there's more room for fluids to flow around in your bloodstream. And then when you get a pump, obviously there's going to be more fluid running around, so you'll be able to really fill up. At least, you know, that's a basic lifter description of what's going on. So if you just take your pre, you know, you do your scoop, then you sip some water and you just chug it down, the caffeine will still hit you, and maybe it'll even I'm not necessarily sure if caffeine you would feel it faster or slower if you have it in a more concentrated form. But it's not going to change up how the caffeine affects you, so you'll still feel it, but it's going to be That's an inferior method of administration, if you will. At least unless you get a good amount of water. But like I was saying, let's say you're dehydrated one day, and then your chest pump's a little smaller than usual, right? If you're really serious about lifting, mid-workout, that sort of thing might mess with your mind, right? Like, you're not going to look the same while you're lifting every time. So I'd rather focus on just covering up, at least for the most part, long sleeve, long-ish sleeve t-shirt, and then just trying to focus on the grind. God damn it. That's one thing I've always sort of felt, ever since all of this fitness stuff got popular. Like, obviously it's been popular. Like, it's been a reasonably mainstream industry. But I'd say over the last maybe 3 years, it totally jumped in popularity for what I would describe as the adolescent to teen youth demographics, right? Now everybody at your school is lifting. Every schmo has their fitness account. And I think they're focusing on the wrong idea, right? If you love all of the zoo culture guys, nothing wrong with watching them. Like, they're probably funny. I don't care. But, if you watch them and all they do is they go around and they stay lean all year round because they're fitness influencers. They want to be able to pose shirtless and be real impressive. Because just being lean on its own, like, you could take a 160-pound dude and put him next to me right now, and if he was diced and, like, a little bit developed, it'd be comparable. Just because, like, being shredded makes you look good as fuck on camera, especially. Now, in real life, it might be a different story, because people look, typically, if somebody's big on camera, they're even bigger in real life. Oh, you get what I'm saying. But, if you're a new lifter and that's who you're watching for inspiration, and you can decide between, starting your bulk, working on your baseline strength, squat, bench. I'm not a big deadlift guy, but deadlift if you want to. Or you could focus on, crash dieting to sub 10% body fat, just so you can take a picture with, some abs. I just think it's a waste of time. Same thing with a lot of these younger, like, teen guys competing, right? You do this whole bodybuilding show, and I'm sure it is very fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they didn't enjoy the process. But, I mean, if you want to compete, hypothetically, the whole point is you also want to try and win. So you should spend more time focusing on actually building up a physique rather than just trying to shred down and show off what you've already got. Like, for me, since I'm just sort of focused on kind of long-term growth for now, I'm pretty much at about a reasonable loop of about a 4-month bulk. Not to the extent that, like, I get real soft. Like, if you take a bulk too far, that's probably, it's a little better than not bulking hard enough. Because sure, you're going to grow muscle, but then you're going to have to deal with all that extra fat you put on. So ideally, you bulk while maintaining a healthy-ish body fat percentage, like ideally no more than 20 at the peak bulk. And then take about 2 months or so, maybe 3 if you want to. You diet down. Ideally, if you maintain your muscle and you didn't crash diet or whatever, then you should be a little bit heavier at the end of that loop. And then you just repeat it until you get to your desired size. If you look at an Alex Eubanks character or anyone at Zoo Culture, a lot of the younger guys at least, they reach a certain level and then they're done. Once you get a reasonable amount of muscle, upper hundreds, and you're lean and you got abs, and you can like flex your quad and you've got some striations. Like once you're there, you can get a pretty good following just by posting consistently and stuff like that. But if you're actually trying to promote growth and you're working on, like you're going to the gym with the mindset that you want to grow over time and you want to progress, then you can watch those guys, like that's fine. But maybe try not to get all your advice from them, right? Because everything that they do in their lifting videos is either, to show off. Like I'll see a ton of those videos in my recommended where all they do is they max out. Like it'll be a full back day, or it'll be like the title back day, and they go in and they just kind of fuck around a little bit, whatever. But then all they do is they max out their deadlift. How the fuck are you gonna get a big back if you emulate that, right? You can't just go to the gym and do is fucking max out. It's not a session. It's stupid in terms of progression over time. And then if you do watch their workouts and you're learning from them like that, you might get some good ideas about, different exercise choices and stuff like that. But you're not going to see the intensity that you need to actually grow, because the amount of energy it takes to build muscle in the gym, like the amount of effort that you'll be putting in to make progress, is, I'd say, oh my God, in terms of just maintaining your muscle mass, maybe not maintaining your strength, like I could probably stay, at whatever size by hitting the gym like a third as hard as I am right now. And that would just be maintaining, right? And for the most part, these guys, since they're dieting, they're staying lean all the time since they want to show off to the camera. That's what they're doing. When they go to the gym, they're just showing you how to maintain that lean physique. So, take their advice with a grain of salt. I'm not necessarily a firm believer in taking getting a lot of information from people who, preach growth, but they haven't even benched 315, right? Like there's big dogs floating around the whole world and they've got some serious knowledge, even if it's just talking about like intensity or, dieting tricks and stuff like that. I would trust like the 300-pound power lifter guy running around the gym to tell me like his favorite bulking meal, rather than, an 180-pound young LA athlete, right? So sometimes I think you sort of have to back off of people who just have a big following and try to focus on, who would actually be a good source of information. So enough of this little rant, this lecture. I'm gonna go finish some calves, and I may or may not do some more talking in the car. We'll find out. Oh my God. I'm so fucking ready for bed. So, I was flat out of gas, like 0 mile range. So, it is late as fuck. I thought I was gonna get shot. And I hope you guys are getting a little bit more excited when you're watching these. Or if you're eating a meal right now, scruff down those last few bites. If you're hitting your cardio, don't get off the bike a few minutes early. Get those 30 minutes in, make sure you get a good sweat going. And if you're staying up late watching this video, fuck you, turn the shit off and go to bed. You're not gonna grow if you stay up. So I'll see you next time. Day 31. Right, incline. Your upper chest is gonna be the hardest to grow, so you're gonna want to put the most emphasis on it. And I've said this before, the hardest things to grow are the ones that are going to be the most impressive to have, right? Having big legs, it's fucking impressive. Having a big set of arms,
I guess that's kind of the mute point. Having a big set of anything is going to be impressive, but you get the gist. So I'm going to finish this pre. Try not to piss off this cop that I'm passing. And get in there and get started. So, fucking see you in there.
Oh, all right. Whew. So, got a little complicated towards the end when I threw in those, especially that triple drop set. But for the most part, relatively simple workout. A lot of pressing, and then a lot of flies. And what else are you gonna do for chest? Whew. Yeah. Oh. The shoulder pumps and the arm pumps are nice because you take the pump cover off and your stringer or your cutoff just shows everything. But the chest pump, you got to go one level deeper to expose it, at least all of it. Oh. Whew. Damn. Dude. That is a considerable amount of beef. We're not necessarily there yet, but we're definitely getting close to that little chest shelf, right? Or hypothetically, your upper chest gets so protrusive right at the top, like at your collarbone, to the point where, you know, hypothetically, you could put like a shaker cup on it and you just sit there and flex and it'll stay on. That's a few levels above me so far, but no, that just means I got more room to grow. All right. So, there we go. Yeah, I don't really, this fucking stringer. This one I accidentally made a little too thin and low. Typically I like for this bottom part to match right at about here, so like the bottom of my lats. This one I kind of fucked up a little. People ask me, at least a lot in the TikTok, like where do I get my shirts? Where do I get all these, you know, tasteful, plain, oversized tees? Or all the black cutoffs and whatnot. And for the most part, either when I'm home, my mom will get them for me. Shout out to you, mama. Or I'll go to Goodwill and I'll just peruse the like the 2 or 3XL aisles, because you can find a lot of cool shit in there. Like a lot of my favorite shirts have just been from like thrifting and stuff. And I mean, if I were to get them straight from the source, I'm paying the equivalent of like 5 other awesome Goodwill steals. 5, not 4, for one shirt. I mean, it seems kind of foolish. So, you know, it's not to say that I'm environmentally friendly and I want to, you know, reuse things instead of buying them new. It's more like I'm just not necessarily super materialistic with it. So if I can get a badass t-shirt for like $4, guess what I'm gonna do, you know? I'm not gonna go buy a Gymshark athletic tee for 40 smackaroos. But if I ever release some kind of t-shirt, then you can forget all about that, and you just need to equip yourself with whatever I'm putting out. That'll be a future endeavor. So I got some shoulders to do and some calves, but I kind of want to just bust through it and then get back home, go to sleep. So I think this will be the end here. Maybe I'll come back in the car. I still got one more meal to eat, but I will see you either there or next time. There we go. Looking ready to roll. So the last few videos, I kind of got lost. Like I sort of lost track of like the actual date and the number day of the bulk. So that's why, you know, even though I did, it was because I went from it was whatever. I just lost track of the numbers. So really what I wrote is like, whatever. But today, I know for sure, it's day number 32. So that's back day. And relatively, back day is probably my quickest lift, just because it's pretty straightforward. And I don't necessarily do a lot of different complicated movements, right? You don't need a whole setup for back. Because I'll throw them in, but I'm not necessarily a huge barbell row kind of guy. And I don't even love dumbbell rows that much either. For the most part, my back training is a lot of just machines and cables. At this gym, you know, mainly cables, just because they don't necessarily have the exact machines that I would like. But, you know, either way, it's still good. I've been doing sort of a back and forth style of back training, where it'll be like a set of a pull down movement, and then a set of a row, and set of pull down, set of a row, set of a pull down, back and forth like that. It's not, you're gonna want to obviously hit your whole back. I wouldn't say that you should only do pull downs, and I wouldn't say that you should only do rows, right? Because it's going to be working your back in different angles, different parts. You know, you got your lats, traps, rhomboids, some other little funky ones going around. But if you do about half and half of pull downs and rows, I think you're going to be pretty much set. Back day has been completed. Brutal pump, same as usual. Back day is it's a pretty consistent, oh holy shit. It's a pretty consistent lift for me. I usually feel pretty strong on it. Never really have an off day. But unrelated, it is 10:30 and Kroger closes at 11. Cutting it close with this one, because I am out of a variety of things. I need some more protein powder. Probably need, I need a little bit more beef. Probably gonna get some ice cream. I think I've still got some ramen floating around. What else? Shit. I don't know. I'll break it down afterwards. I'll get back in the car after I get the groceries. So in terms of diet, my current
sort of go-to meals. I've been doing a lot of like Uncle Ben's sort of instant rice. I'll mix that with some just ground beef, bunch of barbecue sauce. That'll be like 2 meals throughout the day. Love bagels. Been doing bagels with a bunch of cream cheese on it to get some fats in. Some protein shakes. And then honestly, like just any other sort of carb source I can get my hands on. You know, it's pretty much nothing special, right? Obviously, like I pretty much tell everybody, if you don't know what kind of macros you should be eating, right, you got 2 steps. You go online, you look up your calorie calculator. That's going to tell you how much fats and protein you should be eating, stuff like that, for your specific weight, along with for your actual goals. And then the hard part is you got to get an app on your phone and you got to track that shit day in and day out. So it's 10:43. I gotta fucking get to the grocery store quick. Put all the food away, and then going to fucking bed. So I'll see you guys next time. Day number 33. Arm day. So, arms, definitely an impressive muscle group to build. Who doesn't want a big ass set of arms? And a little bit of an important factor in that whole look as well, it's going to be your forearms, right? If you've got forearms that don't match your upper arm, like, you know, sure, you might look good in the gym when you're pumped, you're doing your curls, everything else, but when you're just walking around, I mean, you know, your forearms are going to be what's poking out of your t-shirt for the most part. So I used to do a lot of forearm training. I've kind of chilled out on it for now, just because I feel like they're at a reasonably good point in comparison to my arms themselves. But at the end of this arm day, I'll throw in a little bit of forearms just to kind of show off, you know, what I would recommend doing for them. Arms have been pumped. Calves as well, but I mean, I do calves every time. So I guess I can explain that a little bit. What am I doing when I say do your, you know, hit your calves at the end of every workout? You know, so people, I've heard kind of older style guys say that you work your calf differently depending on whether you do standing calf raises with your legs straight or seated calf raises with your legs bent. There might be some validity there. I'm not really completely certain. Probably a good idea to, you know, throw either one around, but I wouldn't stress it too much. I wouldn't worry too much about anything like that. So, you know, for me, what I've been doing consistently has been about 10 sets of about 20 or 30 reps with a pretty good weight, enough where it's, you know, I can tell it's starting to burn towards the end. And then I'll just go back and forth on either leg, and then that's the end of it. That's it. So in my mind, I kind of appeal to the idea that you walk around on your calves every day. They're used to being worked. Thus, hitting them every day isn't going to be out of the ordinary for them, which, you know, would explain why I can wake up the next day after having done 10 sets of calves and not really be sore. So, you know, if you want to just add calves into your split and just absolutely destroy the fuck out of them, do a ton of sets, ton of weight, drop sets, everything crazy, you know, go for it. Honestly, apart from just experience, you know, that might just be as effective as what I'm doing. But I think a pretty simple method of adding them in, and at least what I've done to get my calves to where they are, is just hit them at the end of every lift. I'm not trying to say that I'm necessarily a fat phobic guy, but I can definitely tell my quality of life, and just from looking around, the quality of life of other people who are in shape, there's definitely an argument to be made that it's better. So fucking go watch Rocky and get inspired, right? The more people that are in shape out there, the better. That's what I say. You don't even have to take it to this crazy level of, like, you know, gym every day, bodybuilding, but just having a base, having a good baseline, being reasonably healthy, you know, not eating too much garbage and actually hitting all your macronutrients, whatever, shit like that. It's gonna feel good. Of course, right after I say this whole pro fitness speech, I'm going to get some fucking McDonald's. I'll see you after I order. God damn it.
There we go. It's day 30 something. Don't remember. It's like 35. This morning, woke up extra heavy. Scale read 249. 149. So felt pretty full. I've kind of been bouncing around between like 5,000 and 6,000 calories, but I think I got to start hitting closer to 6 if I actually want to keep, you know, like gaining weight by the day. That is the goal. So I'm going to finish this pre. Before I get to squats, I got to do the whole hamstring workout. And then should be a pretty good lift. Check the pump after. Should be pretty gnarly.
All right. Got the goddamn exposure down low. Standard procedure. If you want to make your lighting look better in pictures and whatever else. Oh, just by feeling, I am not exaggerating when I say that this feels like the greatest quad pump I've ever gotten in my life. Which, you know, if you're bulking continuously, that should be the goal, right? If you're getting bigger over time, then that would imply that every pump is getting crazier over time as well. Now, the squats definitely played a role, but I really have to attribute this to the leg extensions. Because sure, I did one bananas insane set of squats, but then followed it up by 10 fucking sweet sets of leg extensions. Now, I'm not gonna try to tell you that that's the greatest way to go about it. I gotta fucking catch my breath. But, you know, if you're doing triceps, right, you wouldn't argue with somebody if the only movement that they did was tricep pushdowns, right? And your quads, I mean, that's the triceps of your legs. All it's doing is taking your knee from here, or taking your leg from here to here. So quad extensions are pretty much perfect for that sort of stimulus. All right, so let's see what we're really looking like. Oh, dude. Oh. Whew. Oh. Holy shit, dude. Literally just standing, not even flexing. Like, oh my God. They're just fucking swollen to hell. All right. Let's see if there's any hamstrings going on. All right. Well, that's a pretty proud of myself for that leg day. As you should be at the end of every lift, right? As long as you achieve the goal that you set out to, which for me, like I say, I've been saying this every lift now, is to number one, move some crazy ass weight, and number two, get a crazy ass pump. So both of those were achieved today for sure. So in terms of training, very successful. God, fuck. God damn it. Oh. So calves every day. Today I did fed cardio. So typically I'll just do cardio fasted. Like I'll get up in the morning and just jump right on the bike after getting some caffeine. But today, I did cardio around noon. So I ate a meal or two before. So I wouldn't recommend training a muscle while fasted. It's just not ideal, right? Because if you haven't eaten for a while, your body's gonna have less fuel from food floating around as like blood sugar and glucose or glycogen in your muscles and stuff. So if you were to work out fasted, you might run through, or the bro science logic is you might run through your internal energy stores quicker. So you'll be a little more fatigued afterwards. You're not going to be as strong. So muscles, you want to train after you've eaten at least a few meals. But since I did fed cardio, and I was already at the gym, I just did calves afterwards, which, might not be the most ideal. Obviously, I wouldn't want to hit like legs after doing cardio. That'd be stupid. But calves, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's going to hinder you too much. But in all honesty, it's probably more effective to work all your muscles that you're going to during that day in the same session after a long period of time from the cardio, right? Because if you were to do cardio right before you work out, like let's say, I'll just get into this whole cardio speech. So if you were to do cardio right before you work out and then start lifting, for one thing, you just tired yourself out before your workout. So just from being like fatigued cardiovascularly, you also burned some of your fucking fuel, doing that cardio. Unless you're like full on keto, all you're doing is burning your muscle glycogen, right? Because that's your body's first go-to fuel source. So if you were to do cardio before a workout, you're just weakening your whole body. Your workout's not going to be as effective because you're going to be extra tired. Some other stuff about cortisol, you don't necessarily want to do anything that raises your cortisol levels during your workout, which, cardio is going to. That's a little bit too scientific for me to explain in detail, but whatever. Why would you want to tire yourself out before training? So doing cardio right before you lift is worst case scenario. Now, doing it directly after your lift, second worst. Because after you work out, right, after you've just fatigued your body and broke down your muscles, what do you want to do? even if you're dieting and you're trying to lose weight, the first thing that you want to do after you work out is get a meal in, get some simple sugars in so that your body can instantly get a jump start on recovering itself, right? Even if you're on a diet and you're trying to stay below, a certain number of calories, post-workout, if you get some simple sugars in instantly, it's just going to improve your recovery. Now, you might not necessarily notice it right away. It's like taking vitamins. You're not necessarily going to feel different, but it's definitely going to be more beneficial. So, best case scenario, you do your cardio right when you wake up, right? Nothing crazy intense, low intensity, just 30 minutes, get a good sweat. That's what I do on the seated bike. And then, afterwards, you eat your meals, wait a while, and by the time you're ready to lift, you're fully recovered. You wouldn't even feel that you did cardio. And then you're not in a stressed state. You get right into your workout full of energy, and afterwards, you get to jump straight to rest and recovery. So, cardio, right in the morning, best case scenario. After you work out, not as good, but let's say you're busy, let's say you got to get up early for work or something, you don't have to try to, it's probably going to be better for you to just get a little bit extra sleep rather than try to wake up early and do the cardio. Because sleep is probably going to supersede the benefits of doing morning cardio versus post-workout cardio. But that's enough about that. So what the fuck was I just talking about? Shit. Working out, cardio, leg pump, post-workout meal. What the hell was I talking about? I don't fucking remember. Oh yeah, no, calves. Yeah, so I did calves in the morning. I don't have to do them now. I need to order some more dextrose. So dextrose is just like the simplest sugar that there is, right? There's a variety of different kinds of sugars, like you've heard of fructose and glucose, fructose and like sucrose, stuff like that. And those are all just different rearranges or arrangements of somebody posted a really good comment explaining it in an earlier video. But those are just different arrangements of individual carbohydrate molecules. I think he called them monosaccharides. That doesn't sound right. I'm pretty sure that's fats. But whatever, fructose might be 3 sugar molecules connected. Sucrose might be 2, I don't know. But dextrose is just the one. And it is just ready for your body to absorb. It skips a certain step in digestion, such that as soon as you take in like 50 grams, or any amount, but I'd say 50 grams post-workout is gonna be about what you want. As soon as you get that in your fucking body, instantly, you're gonna have an insulin spike. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna tell all your cells, hey man, we gotta take in some fucking nutrients, right? So all that sugar that you just took in, plus, maybe you do a little protein too, like a scoop of protein. All that shit is just gonna get sent to your fucking cells. Instantly jump your recovery. After a period of time, I'm not necessarily certain how wide of a gap it would put between 2 lifters if all other factors were the same, but it definitely would begin to diverge. Like the lifter who was doing that, rather than just, not doing a post-workout shake at all, is definitely going to get better gains over the long run, right? Now, it might not be that much at first, but the more that you can optimize your lifestyle and your diet and your sleep for training, those little tiny changes and increments in your recovery, those are going to add up over time. And that's what'll be able to separate you from the herd, right? Like, let's say you're a high school, college dude. How many of your lifter buddies do you know? Or let's say how many people at the gym do you think are taking their multivitamins? How many of them do you think are counting their macros? You know, how many of them do you think track their weight every day and try to, correlate that with what they're eating and adjust accordingly? How many of them are trying to look up different training styles and try to improve their methods? Probably not that many. So if you want to be serious, or at least if you want to improve your gains over time, you got to sort of look at each aspect that goes into lifting and try to optimize it for you. Now, you don't have to do this all at once. I'm not telling you to start a 3-hour research binge, but over time, try to, if you ever see some knowledge getting thrown about, or if you hear somebody talking in the gym about something or other, try to take that into your mind, keep it in keep that forethought, and then, if it sounds right, if somebody tells you something and your mind is thinking, that sounds right, that actually makes sense to me, maybe I should start doing that, then, you got to be open to that sort of new idea. Even if it goes against something you've been doing for like a long time, right? Let's say for whatever reason, when you do chest day, what you do is you start off with chest flies, really light, and just burn your chest out, get a crazy pump. And then you start bench pressing after you've already like pre-exhaust your chest, doing isolation movements, really light. If you want to actually get stronger, somebody might go up and tell you, hey, maybe you should just start off with the heavy stuff in the beginning, right? You're going to be stronger, you'll be able to make more progress in terms of strength, which will correlate to size, because you'll be stronger on other movements as well. Just because you've been doing it a certain way, if someone explains something to you and it actually makes sense, you're not going to be an asshole for thinking, shit, well, he's right, fuck. Well, I better change it up now if I want to actually keep growing or keep progressing. That's kind of a rare situation, but overall message I'm trying to send is keep an open mind and try to accrue as much knowledge and information as you can if you want to make serious progress over a long period of time. So nothing else to say. I mean, fucking legs got destroyed. Jug almost empty. This is 170 grams of carbs worth of Kool-Aid. It might sound like an asshole for drinking that, but shit, I mean, simple sugars, intra-workout. If you're bulking, it's probably not going to hurt you. So, that's all I got. Fucking proud of myself for that leg day. If you've been slacking on your squats, I'm going to find you. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here. See you next time. God damn it.
All right. Back in the fucking car. Day 36 of the bulk. We're getting up there in weight. God damn it. Today was 247. So a little lighter than how much I woke up yesterday. But, it's all about that average trend line, right? So, I got like a little graph of my weight. And it's going up and down by the day. But, overall, upward trend, exactly what I want to see. So, chest and shoulders, that's what we got today. Sunday, another day off, so I ended up just eating a bunch of food and then sleeping. Like a perfect day in a bodybuilding context. then time to hit the gym. Kind of early. It's only 10 o'clock. I've been going obnoxiously late. Honestly, I need to start going at like 6. I've got back tomorrow, so I'll see if I can, manage to get to the gym before sundown. I don't think it's going to change too much of your performance. As long as you eat your meals, or you're well rested, then you should be good. But, it's probably just a better schedule to go earlier. I do like going late though, because then the gym's empty. Pretty much usually get it all to myself. Makes it easier to do supersets and whatnot. But either way, fucking didn't get any tang yet, so still gonna be drinking the Kool-Aid in the gym. So for anybody that was curious and was gonna ask me what I'm drinking, which they always do, it's just fucking Kool-Aid, intra-workout carbs, no aminos or anything special. I think that's, if you're a beginner lifter and you're thinking about what to buy, just get your creatine, your protein powder, and pre-workout and multivitamins. So a little bit of a hefty list, but aminos are not on it. Just don't sweat it. So gonna drink this pre, get hype, and then get in there and kill chest, then move on to shoulders. All right, so super basic for shoulders. I may as well have just done the 2 exercises, just one. Actually, let's see if we can see the outline through the shirt. But yeah, I may as well have just done the reverse pec deck. And then those dumbbell lateral raises. There's no point overcomplicating shoulder training, that's for sure. God damn. Fuck. Ooh. Ooh. Whew. God. Oh. Even just doing the fucking lat spread, I can feel my rear delts tensing up. So yeah, I mean, if your rear delts are reasonably proportional, then your whole shoulder should just look totally round around the back, right? Everybody's got big front delts, but if your rear delts are capped, that'll definitely give you a much better look. Honestly, just getting bigger shoulders will make your whole fucking body look bigger. That just because they're like the bigger that they get, the bigger your frame will be. Even if your chest stays the same size and your arms stay the same size, right? Just having more pronounced shoulders will definitely, make you look like a more, what's the word I'm looking for? Indomitable figure, per se. Ooh. Yeah, most muscular. All right. Fuck. So chest done, shoulders fucked. Oh my goodness. Gonna finish with calves. So I've been getting some questions. What do I do for calves every lift? Pretty basic. It's just about 8 sets of whatever calf machine you like, and a weight in which you can do about 20 reps and you'll feel satisfied with the set. You know, I'm not going totally balls to the wall crazy with it. I just think that getting some calf stimulus every day is going to get your calves to grow. Or at least it's going to get my calves to grow. You know, I mean, with everything that I say, your results may vary, except for some of the most basic aspects of lifting, right? Like if I say that I love fucking dumbbell bench and I feel like that's going to get me the most results, that might not be the same for you. You might like barbell the most. You might like just doing straight up machine press the most. And that's what would be best for you in your particular situation. But if I say something along the lines of you need to eat in a caloric surplus to gain weight, so if you're not gaining weight and I tell you to eat more, that is completely true and irrefutable. You know, if somebody just complains to you that they have a high metabolism, they don't need to eat different foods. They need to eat more food if they want to gain weight. And vice versa for losing body fat and losing weight. You have to eat less food. This is not new. This is getting down to like thermodynamics, you know, legit ass science. But a lot of people kind of need to hear it, you know. Honestly, speaking of gaining and losing weight, that kind of brings me to another little pet peeve I have. Because, you know, I go to the gym consistently, so I see the same guys a lot. And for me, at any point in time in my training, I'm going through, or I'm in a specific time period which has a goal, right? So right now, I'm bulking, trying to gain weight, so I'm making sure I'm eating in a surplus, and, you know, I'm tracking my weight to make sure that I actually gain weight. And after this bulk is done, I'm going to go into a dieting phase, you know, shed off some body fat, reacclimate my metabolism, so I can do another bulk later. And I'm going to make sure that I don't eat too much. I'm going to track my weight and make sure that I actually get leaner, right? I think a lot of lifters who have just as much potential as the next guy to get an impressive physique, they get caught in limbo because they can't commit to a bulk, or they don't necessarily have the information that they need to know like what they should be looking for in their food or how to track their food. So they end up just going to the gym. You know, they do their same split back and forth every week. They just eat as much food as they're hungry for. They probably miss their protein, or they're not eating enough protein. They're definitely not taking their vitamins like they should. And I mean, you're just not going to get results that way. You know, there's a difference between lifting and being a lifter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go to the gym every day and you can get 0 results, right? Because there's more that goes into it. Well, if you don't go to the gym and then you go to the gym every day, that will definitely improve your state. You will get results. But after a certain period, if you just go and you kind of fuck around, you don't necessarily have like a dedicated plan, you're going to reach a plateau which you will not break through. So if you want to actually expand your growth and your progression, then you've got to look at every different aspect that goes into lifting and start to at least try to optimize a few. So shit, what was I just saying about? Calves? Yeah, whatever. So if you're just lifting and you're not bulking or cutting, odds are you're gonna need to bulk. Like, odds are that you are not as big as you could be unless, or no, what am I saying? Odds are you're not as big as you could be, and a bulk would be very beneficial, right? I say this fucking half the time I'm talking, I'm saying this sort of shit. A lot of, especially young guys, because they're watching like zoo culture lifters and stuff like that. When they see them, and all of them are shredded year round, guess what they're gonna want to do? As soon as they get in the gym, they're gonna try to fucking cut their calories, diet down real hard, get lean, just like their favorite fitness influencer. But, you know, that's just the wrong way to go about it, you know, because anybody that's showing off over there, that's diced with like a reasonable amount of musculature, you know, those guys spent at least, well, I don't know, a lot of them maybe not, but they spent at least a good amount of time bulking up first. At least, you know, a little. Not everybody does like a hardcore bulk. Early on, just doing like main gaining, like just lifting is going to get you a little bit big, even if you're not dieting specifically. But regardless of any of that, if you just jump to trying to look how they look in terms of leanness, you're missing the whole first step, which is building a baseline. And honestly, if you're just watching like these fitness house influencer gyms, like all the really fancy ones, they got all the lighting, all your top influencers are there. You're not, when I say you, I'm talking about like you, the viewer, as a beginner. Not to say that you are, but walk with me here. A beginner is not gonna get big if they jump straight to a gym like that, because those gyms are just like, I don't even know what a good term or analogy would be to describe them. That in those gyms where everybody has a camera and everybody's recording, those are just posing rooms. They're just showing off what they've already built, you know. It's not a place for progression. Those places are for just flexing and showing off, for the most part, for the general population that you'll see in there, you know. Your gym, the home gym that you have in your town that you go to, as long as it's got, you know, a decent amount of equipment, that is enough to build any physique that you're willing to commit to building. It's kind of hit a lot of different points with this one. A little bit more of a rambling style speech, but I'm gonna go finish calves and then eat a few more. Actually, not a few. I think one. I don't know. Maybe probably 2 meals worth of food. Take all my vitamins and then go to bed. So back tomorrow. Should be another video. Try to keep pumping these out as much as I can. See you next time. God damn it.
All right. Day number 37 of the bulk. Today's going to be back day. But more importantly than that, holy shit. First big fucking milestone. 250 flat this morning. Fucking 250 flat on the scale. So, you know, it still might bounce around a little bit. I might go back to a little lighter, but good fucking sign. I was fucking excited. I get up, fucking get up early for class. Boom, 250 out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere. It makes sense. So, in terms of the calories, started off around like 4,500. Did for a few weeks because it takes a little bit of time for you to get used to, you know, eating a lot of food. You're almost like ramping up your metabolism in a sense. Like if you just go from
dieting, straight up like counting your calories hard, 100 grams of carbs per day, and you're lean, and you jump to trying to eat like 6,000 calories a day, a ton of it's just going to get converted to fat. I mean, you're just not going to be able to make use of that much food, right? At any given point, your maintenance calories, right, your total energy expenditure for the day is, you know, about, yeah, right here. So if you cut, you go below it, and if you bulk, you want to go above it. But if you go too far above it, then you're not getting any, or you're getting a negligible amount of benefits, and then you're going to get extra fucking fat, presuming that you're not doing your cardio, and it's going to be even harder to cut down, right? Like if I were to kind of crazy, if I were to try and eat 8,000 calories per day, I'm sure I would gain weight faster, but much more of it would just be, you know, excess body fat. I'd probably build the same amount of muscle, but all those extra calories that my body just couldn't process are just going to get stored. So last few days been doing 6,000. Feels pretty good. I'll try and do a full day of eating. I don't have class tomorrow, so that'd be a perfect day. So you can get a little bit of an idea of just where all these calories are coming from. Holy fuck. Oh my god, there were like 3 deer right on the edge of the road getting ready to cross. Oh, that could have been bad. Never hit a deer yet. Would not want to. Shit. What else? 250. That's about it there. So today's gonna be back. You know, for a second I kind of thought that I didn't really care for the bent over rows with the barbell, but throwing them in last back day, that felt pretty good. Like, when you go really heavy on them, it's not necessarily pinpointing any specific part of your back, right? Because if you're really going heavy, like 10 reps is your max for whatever weight you're doing. I mean, you're just going to be utilizing every different muscle in your back, right? You're not going to get a perfect lat pump because your traps are going to be activated, your rhomboids, your rear delts a little bit, but definitely a pretty damn decent starter lift. Because I mean, that pretty much fits in with my mentality of start your lift with some heavy sets, and then once you got a pump, you're pretty much good. You know, as long as you lift heavy, like as long as you throw in some sets where you're really pushing yourself, 10 reps is as much as you can get with that specific weight for any body part, for the most part. And then you do a couple of more sets, you know, you kind of back off the weight a little bit, you're doing more isolation movements or whatever else, like a real bodybuilder, and you got a crazy pump at the end. That's pretty much the perfect signs that you've given yourself the right stimulus that you want to grow. Then you finish your lift, you get home and start to fucking recover with your post-workout meal. So I drink this pre, and then we can fucking get in there and kill back. Oh, back got fucking obliterated. Honestly, I probably owe it, or at least owe a good amount of it. Let's change the angle a little. There we go. Probably owe at least a good amount of that pump to that first set of barbell rows. Even though I was swinging it pretty hard, just the fatigue it gave my lower lats, and I'm not a huge, you know, lower back builder per se. Like I don't deadlift. I'm not going for like huge erectors, but I could definitely tell that my lower back just got smashed. So, and then at the end, gnarly pump. So post-workout, what does that mean? It's time to take in your fucking post-workout shake. The best case scenario is going to be 50 grams worth of dextrose, as well as some protein powder. So here I've got 50 grams of dextrose and 1 scoop of chocolate whey. Now, I say this at least not every time, but I say it a lot. What is dextrose? What the fuck kind of weird shit is that? So dextrose is the simplest carbohydrate that you can get your freaking hands on. So it's just the one, as it turns out, monosaccharide, right? Just one glucose molecule on its own. So what makes that better than, chowing down on some rice post-workout, or even like just some candy, just some Skittles or something, some gummy bears. So obviously rice onward, wheats, grains, all those are going to be reasonably complex carbs, right? They're not going to shoot your blood sugar through the roof right when you eat them. And then a lot of candies and stuff like that, those are not dextrose. Those are made of like fructose or sucrose, right? So the significance of that is those more complex forms of sugars, right? Like fructose and sucrose, those are multiple sugar molecules combined. So when you take in some sucrose or fructose, what's going to happen is it's going to have to get broken down in your liver or somewhere else. I don't know the exact biomechanics, but it takes a little bit before it hits your bloodstream. Whereas dextrose, considering that it is, the final product of any carbohydrate that you were to eat, once you take some into your system, it's instantly going to spike your insulin, right? It's going to cause your whatever gland to release some insulin. And then having some extra blood sugar floating around from the dextrose itself is just gonna, when those two when those two factors are combined, what's gonna happen is all of that dextrose, sugars and nutrients are just gonna get sent right into your muscles. So that's exactly the kind of situation that you want after you finish training. You just beat the shit out of yourself. Now you got to repair. So how are you going to do that? Some high octane gains, aka the carb shake. Oh. A little unsettling because it's very sweet, but it's fucking good for you. I'm gonna finish this fucking shake, either get some food or not get some food, and just make some at home. Take my vitamins, and then go to fucking bed. I am exhausted. So if you guys are eating a meal right now, fucking finish that shit quick. If you're doing your cardio right now, good for you. You're following the fucking rules. And again, if you're staying up late when you should be sleeping watching this right now, turn this fucking phone off and go to bed. That's where you're gonna make your gains. See you next time, goddammit. Late as all hell, and it's arm day. So terms of overall fatigue, it's not going to be that bad. Should be a pretty crazy pump, same as normal. So full day of eating. Everybody's been asking for it. I have yet to do it. I was going to do it today, but Tuesday's one of my days off. So I got up, did my cardio, ate some food, and then I went back to bed. And then I got up, ate some more food, went back to bed. Just the whole day. It was great. So, feeling well rested and very full. I've been doing the 6,000 calorie diet, consisting of, you probably only need about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but I've always kind of pushed it up a little higher. So this morning, weight dropped a little. I was at 248, but around 250, I'm still doing like 300 grams of protein. I'd rather go over than under, but I'd say 1 gram per pound of body weight is a number that you should definitely hit every day. Like, that will actually correlate to your progress. Your fats, for me, it'll kind of bounce around between maybe 100 and 200. Just kind of depends on what sort of food I ate. And then carbs, man, carbs have been getting up there, up in like the 800 gram range, just from whatever source I can get my hands on, right? Rice or ramen or varieties of other sweets and sugars and juices. At the end of the day, carbs are carbs for the most part. Now, I wouldn't recommend you go out and make your whole diet consist of fucking candy, but you will still reach the same level of caloric intake, right? But you're definitely going to want to eat more, eat the majority of your carbs from a more complex source, right? Like, wheats or grains. What was I saying? Grains or whatever. You get the idea. Oatmeals. Oats are probably the best. Oats and sweet potatoes. So if you don't know what to eat, if you can get some of those in, you're probably going to be good. But I'll get more in depth onto the diet when I actually do the full day of eating. So, I'm gonna finish this pre, and then we can get in there for arms. Should be fucking empty right now. So this is actually pretty good timing. My fucking phone's about to die. But yeah, just 8 sets, nothing special, no drop set. I've never really had too much of a problem with getting the calves pumped up. So, oh yeah. Woo! Got the 2 little separations and everything. Well, it's the end of day 38. Let's go to the car. Whew. Chest complete. Wait, what the fuck am I saying? Arms complete. Oh, Jesus. Fucking starting to lose it. Arm day. A lot of people say they don't like it, which, I can understand. It does get a little bit repetitive. I don't know. I don't really feel that way. I don't get tired of this shit. So, post-workout, gonna grab my freaking carb shake with the dextrose. I'm not gonna explain this shit every time. You guys should get a grasp on it after, a few times hearing about it. But dextrose is the simplest carbohydrate that you can find. It's just straight up, it's like the same shit that's in your muscles, glycogen, right? Just straight up glucose.
And if you have that post-workout, about 50 grams with some protein as well, then you're instantly going to have an insulin spike. I will see you next time. Oh.